This is not good. It's coming from that way. This isn't happening. This feels dangerous. What's up guys, it's Austin. Welcome to today's vlog / storytime video. I had quite the night last night, and by the time you're watching this was a couple weeks ago. But for right now, as I'm filming this happened last night and it was truly terrifying. It had nothing to do with ghosts. Well, maybe some of it. You're gonna have to listen to the whole story just to kind of get the idea of why and how all this happened. And yeah, long story short, I made a post of going to the Witch's Fort alone for an alone series. As you guys know, lately I've been going to haunted locations alone that I've been to with friends. Let's just say the fort was next on the list. And I'm just like, damn, this is in a forest, and I've never done a forest alone before, especially a haunted one, like not a single forest, haunted or not haunted, whatever. I made sure that I at least told one person that I was going to this forest so that if I don't come back by a certain time, that they could call the cops if I don't come home, because it's very dangerous going to a forest by yourself. I know a lot of people sometimes do it, some people don't because it's too scary, and I'm leaning more towards the too scary side, I don't know. But anyways, I'm just like, screw it, I'm going tonight, as in last night. I grabbed some bus money and I went out the door. I packed up my ghost equipment, my camera, and I left. I'm walking to the bus stop. I'm just like, I'm actually doing this. I'm walking to the bus stop to go to this Witch's Fort in the woods by myself. A place that I've went to with friends and had the most like traumatic experiences. And that includes demonic possession. Not even joking about that one. That happened. I experienced it. It was crazy. I'm not the one that got possessed. It was another friend of ours. I've witnessed the EMF meter going crazy in that place during that time of the possession. And when me, Mike, and Nick went there, the EMF meter also went crazy on camera. You guys can go check that video out. I'll put the thumbnail right here so you can go find it. But this time did not go as expected. So I'm taking the bus there, it's driving. I'm getting more and more nervous. Now, when I go to haunted places, I usually do get pretty nervous going to these places, especially by myself. This feeling would always happen even with friends. I'd get this weird gut feeling. It's like a paranormal gut feeling, you know what I mean? It's like, you think something really bad is gonna happen, but like this one was not quite paranormal. So the bus is going down this big hill. In order to get to this place, I have to go over this big bridge that goes kind of right beside the forest and goes up to the university where I did my last series recently. As it was driving on the bridge and I looked and I'm just like, oh God, there's the forest. This is my demise. Oh God. It's going up the hill. I'm getting more and more nervous the closer and closer it's getting. It pulls into the bus loop area at the university. I get out, I start walking to the left over towards the pathway that goes to the Witch's Fort. I'm just like, okay, I'm just gonna follow this pathway. I'm gonna go down here. I'm gonna go into the woods. I have directions on how to get there. I do not recommend you guys go here, especially alone, because it's just too dangerous. It's way too dangerous. So I'm going down this pathway. All is good. I'm just like, okay. I tried to leave during the day, which I did. I left at around like 8:30 or something like that p.m. It was still bright out. It's not like it's winter time and it's already dark. There was still a lot of sunlight out at that time. It gets dark at about 9 o'clock, so I kind of had to hurry. So I'm walking down this long hill. So this is the thing with this place. You're walking down this long cement path into a valley, and then you're going straight into the woods to this Witch's Fort. You're going deep into the woods. It's not like you approach a forest and you're going in. No, you're going deep down a valley and then into the forest. So you're like in this pit of like forest, basically. It's scary. I'm walking down there. I get to the grassy area where you start to head to where the Witch's Fort is. This place is very strange with how you get there. I'm gonna really go in detail with this story about how you get there because it's weird. So what you do is there is a path that forks to the left and right. You take the right path and then you kind of follow it until you approach a beaver dam. Now there's two different ways you can go. There was a path that was really steep that I could just like crab crawl down because you'd probably trip and fall if you went down this other way. I went to the left-hand side and you go across a beaver dam. The dam isn't that big, but it's very sketchy to walk across. So I'm walking across this dam with all my stuff. It's all in my backpack. Thankfully, I didn't have anything in my hands at this point. I walk across the dam very carefully, gripping onto whatever I could to easily get across because it's sketchy. And I'm walking, I'm taking the path, hoping that I'm going the right way because I remember you cross this thing, you go to the beaver dam, you cross that, whatever. And people have been saying, you know, it's really hard to get there when there's leaves on the trees. I'm just like, God, I hope I can find it easily, because I've been here like loads of times. I went through the trees and I'm like, oh, there it is. I found it. That was easy. So I'm approaching it and I'm hearing voices as I'm approaching the fort. I'm like, oh God, who's in here? Please don't be a cult. Please do not be a cult doing some random demonic sacrifice or something, like, please. Because that stuff does go on down there. I'm not even kidding you guys. I'm walking around and kind of checking it out. I don't go in immediately. I walk around it. I notice something very odd. There's no dolls on the Witch's Fort anymore. It used to be covered with all these plastic dolls hanging from their limbs, from their hair. There was one time when I went there and dolls were hanging from the trees by their hair, by their clothes. It used to be very creepy. It still is. It still is. It's just the dolls made it a lot more creepier. So I'm going around the Witch's Fort. I'm still hearing the voices and I hear these two women talking inside and I'm just like, oh God, please don't be witches. And then they look over and they're like, oh my God, you scared us. They were really cool people. And then the other one looks over and she's like, oh my God, you scared me. Like right when she looked over, I got scared and I thought you were someone or something else because we were hearing critters crawling all over the place in the grass. I'm just like, nah, you're good. I'm just here to hang out. I go in the fort, I talk to these people. They're just like, oh, so are you here just to like kind of check it out? I'm like, yeah, like, you know, I do YouTube and stuff like that. And they're like, oh, like what's your channel and everything? I gave them my channel name so that they can eventually check me out. Once they watch this video, they'll probably know exactly who I'm talking about. So they're just like, so do you have like all the gear and stuff like that for your videos and stuff? And I'm just like, yeah, I could come and show you it right now. So we go around the fort and we go inside. I pull out the REM pod, which is a physical device that if spirits go near it within like a few feet, it'll beep, it'll make noise, or if they touch it, it'll also make noise, or if they grab onto it. I attach the antenna and these women, they're just like, we gotta record this in case something happens because no one's gonna believe us if something happens. So they pull out their phone, they turn on the flashlight mode on it, and they're filming me doing this. I didn't even have my camera out yet, and I set the REM pod down. They're just like, if that thing beeps, we're running away. I'm just like, sometimes it takes a while to go off, and I told them like, me and my friends have had some really weird experiences down here. Like the last time we were here, we did this elaborate seance with like a Ouija board. It didn't work, but really weird stuff happened. And I'm just like, we've also had demonic stuff happen, and they're like, oh, please don't tell us about that. So I didn't tell them. I was very tempted to because it's a very interesting story. It's about the possession, but I didn't tell them because I didn't want to hear it. REM pod wasn't going off, so they decided to leave. I take the thumbnail for the Witch's Fort for the video. I start doing the research section of the video, which is where I talk about the hauntings and what I've experienced personally at the fort. And then eventually I get to the investigation section of the video and I put the REM pod in the middle of the Witch's Fort. Now, this part was recorded and the research section, so I'll probably put both of those in the video just to kind of have in this clip. So I pull out the REM pod, I turn it on, I turn on the temperature too, because I wanted to see if there's any like cold spots from spirits. It starts going off immediately. I start filming. I think I asked if it remembers me or something like that. The little blue light starts going off, which means it's going cold. I'm just like, okay, so there's something here, it wants to communicate. And then I hear coyotes and my heart just about drops. I'm just like, no, 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 no. That can't be coyotes. That's gotta be dogs. Because at first it sounded like barking. You know, like coyotes, they do that weird yipping sound and then they kind of like howl. These ones weren't really howling as much as they were just making that yipping noise or whatever that they make. But they start making that sound. I'm just like, okay, they're pretty far away at this point, so I should be okay to continue my investigation. I'll just wait until they're done making that stupid sound and then I'll continue with my demon-infested location. It doesn't stop. You know what happens? They get closer. So now I'm just like, I'm between a rock and a hard place, meaning do I keep filming or do I leave this place and not risk my life getting eaten by coyotes? Now I know usually the main thing they prey on is other animals and pets usually, but sometimes in a rare case, at least I think it's rare, they will attack humans sometimes. And I don't know about you guys, but I would not stay in a spot where there's coyotes yipping and howling and whatever, like they're about to get their feast for the night. And I wasn't about to be part of that. No thank you. I turn back on the camera and I'm just like, guys, I'm hearing coyotes, and you can hear it in the video because I have a really good microphone on my camera all the time. And so I'm hearing them and I'm shocked. I'm just like, they're getting closer, they're getting closer, they're getting closer. So I grab my stuff, I pack all my shit, I put it in my backpack. Luckily I didn't have very much stuff out. I had the REM pod and I had the EMF meter. So I packed all that really quick, made sure I have everything, and then I booked it out of the fort, which you're gonna see all this footage in a second. I book it out of the fort and then I see like 5 deer. Oh wait, no. There was one really weird thing that happened before all of this. I think this part was kind of like paranormal in a way. There was a part at the Witch's Fort where like there was a pipe that sounded like it banged against another pipe. And so I went out of the Witch's Fort and I tried looking for somebody because it sounded like somebody just banged a pipe together against another pipe. And that really freaked me out because it was super loud. It sounded like it was right beside me. It wasn't like across the river or anything because there's like a river down there too. So I hear that, I get really freaked out. It was off camera, so I don't have footage of that unfortunately. Anyway, back to me running from the freaking coyotes. I leave the fort and I see like 5 deer down there. I'm just like, okay, maybe they're after the deer, but I'm still like panicking, trying to get out of there. So I'm just like, oh God, do I have all my shit with me? So I run back to the fort and then I double check that I have all my stuff. I had everything. I just completely book it out of this forest. I'm filming the whole time so I can possibly make it into a video if I made it out alive, which luckily I did. So I'm running out of here. I'm going down the hills and like running through this thing and I'm just like, oh, this is so Blair Witch. And then I go across the beaver dam while I'm holding the camera. So I'm at the beaver dam part. I'm holding the camera with one hand and I'm trying to film it while walking across this thing. It was like a fucking gymnastics routine. I had to walk across this thing. I'm surprised I didn't fall in the water, surprisingly. And then I had to leap onto this like dirt pathway and then I book it. I get to the grassy part where you're just out of the woods. I turn off the camera at that point. I'm still running. I go up the hill and by this point I'm like super exhausted. I'm like panting. I feel like I'm about to pass out from like loss of air. So I take out one of my water bottles. I like down the whole bottle. I'm going up this hill for like a good 10-15 minutes or so. I eventually get to the top. I get to the university. This is the part where I'm going to show you guys the footage of what I'm talking about so that you guys kind of get a better understanding of what I was going through and how panicked I was. Here's the footage. Here is the Witch's Fort. Very creepy, very terrifying. I've heard lots of creepy sounds down here already. Like I heard a metal pipe bang, like off camera. I'm not even kidding. I've been hearing footsteps and everything. And yeah, I'm pretty terrified to be down here alone. I've never done a forest by myself. There are some new things added here. Like I noticed there's like new steps that are easier to get up. It used to be all just dirt, I'm pretty sure, the last time I was here. There's actually little to no dolls. There used to be dolls all over this thing. And now it's just pretty much metal and other things. A lot of the dolls are gone. So let's go in here. So right now I'm going to talk about some of the experiences I've had here and some other people. So here we go. Okay, so the stories of this Witch's Fort. Basically, this was made by a homeless person and then it kind of just developed into this big monstrosity of a shelter or whatever it is, a fort. There have been lots of demonic experiences down here. I've encountered one actually when I was down here with Nick and a couple other people. So when we were down here back in 2020 in October, I've told this story on my channel before. When we were over here in 2020 at the end of October, we brought a couple girls down here that were Nick's friends. One of them felt the need to go up the balcony over here and we didn't hear from her for over 20 minutes while we were talking to this thing. Little did we know it was actually demonic. And how did we figure that out? Well, Nick called up to her, she wouldn't answer. And we got a little bit freaked out because we're just like, why isn't she answering? So he goes up there and he told me her eyes were black, pitch black, like you couldn't even see her eyes. I'm just like, are you serious? And he's like, yeah, I think we gotta go, like right now. Like Austin, she is actually possessed right now. We need to actually get out of here before more of our lives are in danger. So he brings her down from the balcony and there's stairs right here to get off the balcony. And I had to help her down because she was so dazed and so out of it, she could not get down by herself. There's absolutely no way. And I remember she texted me the next morning and she's like, I don't remember anything that happened. So that was one experience. The last experience that I had down here 3 years ago with Mike and Nick is we brought the Ouija board down here, did this crazy seance. Even though the Ouija board didn't work in here, we had footsteps going all around us. We would check, there'd be no animals, nothing there, no people, and it freaked us out because we did a full circle around the fort, looked in the woods, there was no one there. So then we go back in the fort and sounds immediately started going again. I cannot explain what happened that night, but that was the last time I was here and I swore to never come back because that was the most active night. I wanted to get the Witch's Fort when it was at its top activity with the EMF going off and everything, which it was. It's actually on right now. There's actually a review online that said there's a not very nice spirit here. Do not go at night and do not take anything from the fort. Some of the stuff here was used in ritualistic practices and black magic. If you took that home with you, you would instantly be haunted or cursed. I think the next part is getting to the investigation. Here we go. Oh yeah, guys, one more part of the demonic possession story that I experienced with that girl down here. When I put my EMF meter near where she was up there, because I was down here, I wasn't with Nick up there, it went into the yellow and red. I'm not even joking, right where she was. I think what I'm gonna do right now is turn on the REM pod and see if we can sense anything nearby it and try to talk to something. So here we go. Holy shit, activity already. Something is making it cold. Guys, it's not even cold down here. I am so warm right now that I don't even need a hoodie. Like, it's the middle of summertime right now. Guys, I'm hearing something. I think I'm hearing f***ing coyotes. Guys, I think there's f***ing coyotes down here. I might have to leave here early. There's f***ing coyotes right now. I don't care how many people are probably laughing at me in the comments and being like, coyotes won't hurt you, but like, I'm scared right now. I don't like being down here when I know there's coyotes. I have this stick to protect myself. I don't know, I think I'm gonna leave. This feels dangerous. I don't think I can do this. Guys, this is f***ing not good. I was not expecting there to be coyotes tonight. Oh, and it's so dark out here. This is like Blair Witch Project. Do I f***ing have everything? That shit's getting closer. Where's it coming from, first of all? It's coming from that way. Do I have all my stuff? Yeah, I do. Let's leave. No. This isn't happening. I'm getting the f*** out of here. Can't believe I did that with my camera in my hand. Holy shit. So anyways guys, that was my terrifying story of how I almost got attacked by coyotes at the Witch's Fort. It was very, very scary. I've never had them come that close to me. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this story time with footage of what happened. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.